I'm Howie Lim. This is Money Hacks by the Business Times. AI is quickly mastering core financial tasks, from drafting wills to suggesting ETFs. A recent survey shows 81% of Singaporeans are already leveraging AI for personal finance, with nearly half using robo-advisors. But as algorithms take the wheel, where does human judgment fit? Can AI truly keep an investor disciplined when life's unforeseen events and emotions intervene? And how far should generative AI's advice go before it blurs the line with human counseling? Welcome to Money Hacks. I'm Howie Lim. Polka Mishra, partner at Javelin Wealth Management, joins us to discuss how this dynamic interplay between Gen AI and authentic human insight is radically reshaping the future of wealth planning. Polka, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with how you draw the line between AI's analytical efficiency and the ethical necessity of human empathy when it comes to advising clients on their major life decisions like retirement or even estate planning.
So we look at AI as a powerful tool to support the decision making. We don't look at it as a decision maker. It can do a lot of the grunt work. It can do the analytics for you. It can do it very fast and more accurately as well. But what it does not do is it does not incorporate, say, the family's values, the dynamics, right? The quirks of individuals. All that is part of wealth planning that AI is not able to incorporate. It's a support tool for efficiency, analytics, but then there's that human touch that needs to come in to actually make it real for the person. Because wealth planning as such, it's a very entrenched personal exercise which defines the whole life of an individual, right? So it's not just a mathematical optimization. There's emotions involved in it, which only a human is able to bring in. From recently, we've seen what's happening with the Middle Eastern situation. We've got calls from multiple clients around being concerned, you know what, we should sell out. And for the first 90% of the time of that call, the client was speaking and we were just listening as advisors. By the end of that call, he said, I think I'm talking myself into not doing anything, but thanks for listening.
What?
So it's that human aspect of knowing that someone's there for you. So for us, AI sits in the engine room, not the driver's seat.
Where then is, say, the true friction point or disconnect, if you will, between an optimal financial plan generated by AI, because we can't take away how quickly they can crunch numbers, how quickly they can spit out some sort of data-driven, would be 100% great for you type of plan versus what you talk about, the client's emotions and their behavior in the world and the fact that they only wanted to talk to somebody about it, but not really ask for advice.
So, yes, a perfect plan on paper is a perfect plan on paper until it stops being livable for the client. Example of portfolio construction. And AI can create your 60-40 portfolio for a client very easily, very quickly, whatever is based on the risk profile. But it actually does not know how the client lives through those times of volatility, how the client actually reacts when things go bad. So that aspect is something that only a human can do. So giving you the example of COVID, for instance, things started going south very quickly in the markets. And our only job at that point was to reach out to the clients, let them know that, look, we are here for you. The portfolio is constructed in a particular manner. It's a long-term portfolio. But if you sell now and when markets recover, you're not going to be able to go back in there. We gave them the comfort that your cash flow needs are all taken care of. So you actually don't need to react in panic. If you look at how AI reacts, right? In a good market, a human tendency is to buy more. Bad market, you tend to panic and you sell. And you end up buying high and selling low. Now, studies show that AI, 47% of the time, gives you an affirmative answer. It wants to align with what the person is asking.
How intelligent is that?
Try this experiment, put this in ChatGPT. I think I'm panicking and I think I should sell off my portfolio because of the situation in Middle East. I don't have the appetite to hold on anymore. AI will give you, yes, you're absolutely right. This is the right decision to make. And it's going to give you 5 precedents on why you should be doing that, all very valid, selected from history. put the next sentence in saying, what about long term? I really don't want to make short-term decisions, actually. So maybe I was wrong about it. And AI will go, yes, you're absolutely right. I should have thought of that.
It's
right.
Artificial sycophant, not.
It's exactly, that's what I was going to use. It's an artificial sycophant. And that's not what you need in your advisor. You need an advisor to be real to you, objective, take your emotions into consideration, but take them out for the decision making.
But what about conflicts arising between AI's purely optimized data-driven recommendation and you are a sycophant, or a client's core values, so to speak? Let's say AI doesn't take into account ESG concerns, maybe.
To be fair, AI would take ESG concerns into account if you tell it to. But it will do that for one version, two version, and then, as we know, the cases of hallucination in AI are quite significant. We've had lawsuits where wrong citations have been brought forward in court simply because AI provided that. It's not just about conflict of interest, but it's also about the sanctity of data and information that you're getting from AI. It creates information. It's not always accurate. So there are over 1,000 documented cases now of non-existent precedents being cited in courts by lawyers because they got those from AI and they actually didn't exist at all. And there have been fines that have been imposed for the same. So the data validity is also a bigger question. It's not just about the conflict of interest. But yes, you're right. I think there's another research that says that individuals tend to go back to AI 10 to 15% times more if it agrees with you. So there is that conflict of interest that AI wants to agree with you because you will come back to it.
What else then is the single most valuable behavioral or psychological intervention that a human advisor can provide?
Accountability. And accountability works both ways. Our accountability as advisors, as well as holding client accountable. So the first one is simple. We, as advisors, have a fiduciary responsibility towards the client. We have a responsibility to make sure that whatever we are advising clients on is accurate, it's thought of, it's relevant for the client. AI has no fiduciary responsibility. It can say, oops, I made a mistake. You are right. This is the correct approach. Now, remember...
As if it would even say that.
Exactly. Actually, it's interesting how many times AI apologizes.
Really?
Oh, yes. So if you start arguing with it for fun, you'll say, oh, but this is what you said. Now you're saying this. Why? Oh, I apologize for my oversight, and it'll change what it's saying to you. So it's not consistent. It's not sticking to what it is supposed to do, but it just gives you an affirmation. That doesn't work when it's about someone's life savings, their hard work, their family, their relationships. Everything gets impacted. It's a relationship of trust, not just a relationship of numbers. And that's where we're talking about individual ownership being extremely important. So we are responsible to treat the client's money with the respect it deserves. But then there's also the accountability of the client, holding the client accountable for their own actions and about their own money. I kind of sometimes compare our job to that of a gym trainer. So nowadays you have your in-person gym trainers who are online. So you don't meet them, but they'll do a plan for you. They follow up with you and they track your metrics. And the third one is AI that can build a workout plan for you. And it can also give you a prompt every day that, did you do your workout? Did you fill in? You didn't fill in. Now, who would you feel most accountable towards? An in-person coach who you know is going to be waiting at the gym for that particular hour for you to help you achieve your own goals. Wealth management, we hold our clients accountable. So we've had conversations. Client comes and says, I'm planning to buy another boat. And then we say, okay, let's go through your financial plan. There was no boat planned here. And we were actually planning to repay the mortgage. So do you really think it is the right decision? Or you said you're going to write your will and it's been 6 months and you still haven't written your will or updated your will. So we're that coach that forces the client to achieve their goals for their own benefit. That accountability is something that AI does not provide.
We've been speaking to Polka Mishra, who is partner at Javelin Wealth Management, about AI taking over the world and even making financial decisions for you. More in a moment.
Good conversations start with the right questions. This season, those questions are about us. The people, the policies, the forces shaping all of us. Lens on Singapore with Clarissa Montero. Back in May. Powered by the journalism of the Business Times. On YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
And now, back to Money Hacks from the Business Times.
Welcome back. Polka, so we're talking about accountability and also maybe the personalization of financial advice. What are some of the key regulatory or liability challenges that firms such as yourself face as you integrate Gen AI? Because when it concerns the personalization of financial advice, I mean, it's in the word, right? It needs to be personal.
Yes, it's evolving. We still don't know where it's going to go. These are early days. But the biggest one is, of course, client confidentiality. With the ease of use that is available with AI right now, it is very hard to control what data your team is putting into the systems. And that's one of the reasons AI adoption has been slow in financial services, because you can put the guidelines in, but one accidental mistake and you don't know where clients' data is going. Even if these are pro versions, in-house versions, you're still not sure of the information flow and how it is being used. So client confidentiality. Secondly, I think it's also to remember that a lot of folks in finance like us, we're not extremely tech savvy. So we're not able to always assess, especially smaller firms where you don't have a big tech department to assess what are the risks associated with AI. You can't go deep into it to assess, okay, what damage it could cause. Personal data protection for client is extremely important. And like you said, if you want AI to do well enough a job, you have to give it as much information as possible about the client. So how do you segregate the personally identifiable information from what is necessary? And sometimes that judgment call could be wrong. So that's a very big regulatory risk. And it's a very big risk for the clients in today's world where you're having scams day in and day out. So that's one. Now, second, data sanctity. If you're using AI and you're using its data and you're using how it is using the data, you can't just rely on that because sometimes it makes mistakes. Sometimes it creates information. So you cannot trust it without verification. And for that verification, you have to have that human element come in as well, or you end up with lawsuits like we've seen in the legal industry of late. Finally, it's the fiduciary responsibility. At the end of the day, whatever we are advising the clients is on us. We can't say that, oh, AI told us so. No, it is the client's wealth. So the fiduciary responsibility is on us. We are regulated by MAS.
So it sounds like AI in its current form can't really manage client discipline through a market crash, maybe. Will it in the future be able to?
I struggle to see. It is in the current form, definitely not. Even in the future, again, I'll give the example of gym training versus online training. We've had online training for years, right? But why do we still pay our gym trainers? And a premium at that is because it gives you a value add over what a system can do for you. So what will happen is a lot of the aspects will get commoditized. Basic portfolio construction, etc., can be taken over. But that entrenched deep relationship that is needed to give client actual advice on their wealth planning, which is almost life planning in certain cases, I don't see that in the near future. But that also changes the nature of the industry. The ones who have been focusing just on the core basic services, they are going to get disrupted. But the ones who have the deeper relationship, for instance, talking to a family about succession planning, it needs a lot of sensitivity. You need to have that empathy, that human touch. You need to be able to put yourself in the client's shoes to give that advice. So I don't see that getting disrupted for a very long time, if at all ever. But yes, the operational part of the work will get disrupted. And that's where businesses like us, we focus on using AI to help us do the mundane job so that we can spend more time on the value-added conversation with the client. We want to ask the client not only how much money do you need or how you're going to make it, but the question of what the money means to you. What do you really want to do with it? That's not an AI question. That's a human question who's been through that journey themselves.
So right now, all AI's done is to democratize access to basic financial planning, yes, and say the elite human wealth managers don't just yet need to justify their value, or that needs to evolve
I think,
as
firstly,
well?
yeah. I mean, any elite or non-elite wealth manager, they need to justify their value to the client. The client is paying you. That means you're responsible to provide exactly the service that you promised to the client. You need to be able to act in a way that you continuously, on a daily basis, earn the client's trust. But basic is the key word, right? So the basics are getting commoditized, and they will be. But what that also means is clients will also ask more difficult questions. They will say, what are you really doing for me? Where you give them what is the biggest value proposition, peace of mind. That, you know what, there's someone who's thinking about me, someone who's thinking about my wealth, someone who's thinking about every aspect that I don't have the time or the inclination. What will be important is to be more proactive rather than the reactive. So the ones who've been reactive, they will struggle, because if the client is having to reach out to them and ask them a question, they can ask that question to AI. But if I'm going to the client saying, you know what, you said that you're changing your job right now. This is going to have certain tax implications. Have you thought about it? Can we work on that? So you got to be a bit more proactive, knowing the client's situation and then giving that advice. So those are the ones that are going to survive.
What about, say, in the next 5 years? What's the most significant, non-obvious shift you anticipate in that client-advisor relationship when it comes to AI adoption?
Not a lot. I think there'll be an implication on what clients are paying for. In the past, even something like a simple portfolio consolidation, it was such a time-consuming job that they paid their advisors for that. Often it's, people don't believe it, but sometimes clients don't even know what they own. So putting all that together was a lot of work. Now,
Hashtag first world problems,
exactly.
though.
So yes, it is. But getting all that in together, understanding what their worth is, understanding what are the implications of that, all that used to take a lot more time. Now that has become a lot easier. Now, the shift that I see happening is it depends on how the advisors act. So do we use these tools to make our lives easier so that we can make clients' lives better? Or do the clients start using those tools? I don't see that, because people who reach out to wealth managers are the ones who either don't have the time or they don't have the knowledge. If you have both of them, you can do it yourself. Most of these clients who have that level of wealth are either busy working professionals, business owners, or they're retirees who just want to enjoy their lives. So AI can provide that knowledge. But do they really want to spend that time with AI to think through every aspect of their lives? I don't think so. But they will only go to the ones that add value, are being proactive about it, not waiting for the client to prompt them. That's not going to work anymore. The other thing that's going to happen is there's a massive shift. We are seeing a major wealth transfer, this generational wealth transfer.
Especially in Asia, right?
In Asia, absolutely. And the next generation asks much tougher questions than the previous generation. They're not interested in the brand as much. They're interested in the service that you provide, the value that you provide, and the information that you provide. So the wealth advisors are going to have to adapt to that kind of questioning and scrutiny, and you can't hide anymore. So you can't say, I've done this for you, because they can very easily verify. We're going to have to be a lot more on top of everything that we're doing and communicating to the client. But categories of advisors that will struggle more to justify their existence than others.
I wish we had more time. Polka, thank you so much for your insights today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Polka Mishra, partner at Javelin Wealth Management. This has been Money Hacks by the Business Times. I'm Howie Lim.
This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts. Or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is meant to provide general information only. SPH Media accepts no liability for loss arising from any reliance on the podcast or use of third parties' products and services. Please consult professional advisors for independent advice.